Rewind-A-Dynamite from the post-wrestling site. AEW, lighting up the fuse. Sit back and enjoy the bubbly as we hear from John and Waiting. Where we're going, we don't need roads. And if the buck stops here, this thing might blow. Everything you hear are opinions of the show. And if you don't like it, go to the forums and let them know.
John Pollock and Wei Ting are with you to navigate through AEW Dynamite from the HEB Center in Cedar
Austin,
Park, Texas.
Oh, Cedar Park, Texas, not Austin.
They always call it Austin. I think I don't want to assume it's one and the same, but close vicinity.
Yeah,
more utilization for the word Austin, as we would hear on the broadcast tonight, than Cedar Park.
Popular name in pro wrestling.
It's gotten its value for sure.
Mm.
We're live tonight, and we're going to be live several times this week. Do want to alert everybody that we will be coming back, both Friday night with Rewind-A-SmackDown. Wei and Neil will be here on Friday, and then I'm back Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be live here on the Post Wrestling YouTube channel after the Royal Rumble. So 10 p.m. Eastern time, several hours after the Royal Rumble, as we all decompress, and then we will sit down and talk.
It looks to be a big show, and we'll be talking about it in the XL edition after we finish our review here as we preview the entire card.
That's right. We're going to do a whole preview of the show. That will be for the XL version for Café members coming up later on tonight. But we start off. WrestleTix announced 2,990 tickets distributed for tonight's show, just kind of mostly the standard for, by and large, Dynamite week to week. Last time they were here was a Dynamite a year ago in February that did relatively similar, 2,828. And we are getting right into the action on the show. 6 matches announced, and Rocky Romero, minus an entrance, right there in the center of the ring as Kenny Omega's theme kicks off the show. And they get into it, and right off the bat, the announcers inform us that Samoa Joe suffered a non-contact injury in training this week, and he is sidelined. And that was the only mention we got of Joe on this show, who appears to be out of this mini tournament that they are setting up to determine the next AEW title challenger. And we'll talk about that a bit more, but that was it. A non-contact injury.
Hopefully it didn't slip on snow somewhere, because there's a lot of it everywhere.
Did you see what happened to the Toronto Maple Leafs coach?
No.
He had some incident in the gym, and he shows up. Dude has 50 stitches across his head. He looks like somebody went to give him a haircut with a chainsaw. I mean, he looks like he nearly escaped death, and he just showed up for the game on Saturday, and he's just like making light of this. And I was like, what in God's name happened to this guy?
Holy shit.
It's insane.
It
was insane. He coached like this, dude.
This is insane. What happened? What was the incident?
I didn't look into this too much. He just said it was like an incident in the gym or something like that. Like, I don't know if he dropped weights on his head or something. I mean, it's bad enough that you're the coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs, but then this happens. And I mean,
well, this is very unfortunate.
So hopefully Joe's doing better than Craig Berube is.
Yeah.
Okay. So back to the show. That's a tangent to go on. Rocky avoids the V-trigger, getting out of the ring. He had a pretty non-smooth looking Shiranui onto Kenny Omega in the midst of the ring, and then Omega just boots this guy. Romero mounts some offense, and then he just starts celebrating and gets drilled from behind, Snapdragon, V-trigger, and one winged angel in 3 minutes and 50 seconds. We said it last week. I'm going to say it again this week. I could go with a Kenny Omega 4-minute match every single week. This guy he does not need to do 20-minute matches every week. I had so much fun watching this, and I could watch these Kenny Omega 4-minute squashes. Give me Action Andrade next week. He could just wrestle every unranked AEW male star, and I'd be interested in it.
Especially because we've been without Kenny singles matches for so long, to even get to see him in this like 4 to 5 minute match, I think feels very special. And you can argue we'll keep him special by limiting the ring time.
You got to
So
pay to see the big Kenny match.
exactly, I would suggest this. I mean, not for every single person on AEW Dynamite, but I think a lot of people might be able to benefit from this sort of thing. And I think Kenny style works really well for a quick TV match because
Totally.
his offense is so explosive and so quick. And I mean, just to see, one of those V triggers pulled off the way, like how great it looked tonight, I thought was, more than enough to make you really excited to see his future matches. So he looks in really incredible shape right now. So I do believe him when he says he hasn't felt this good in years. And of course, Rocky did a great job making him look great.
Fun match to start things, and Shivani enters the ring, and Taz asks who is dressing Tony Schiavone as he showed off his neon yellow tie with matching shoes. I mean, this guy is just a fashion plate here on AEW programming. And so Shivani explains that Omega, Hangman, Swerve, and Andrade are the top contenders, and the top two are going to meet in Australia at Grand Slam in 2 weeks. The winner of that match will get a shot at Revolution on March 15th. And then he goes backwards here to explain that tonight's Swerve Andrade winner faces Omega next week in Las Vegas. And what I took from this is that Hangman's just going to face the winner of next week's match. I don't think Hangman has to face anybody here.
They didn't line that out, and I'm assuming that that's because he's likely to face the winner of next week's match at Grand Slam.
That's what I thought. And I could have imagined they could have done Paige and Joe and made this into like a 4-man tournament. There's no need to have Hangman have to face just some random person. So that makes sense. So watching this show felt to me like over the last week, Tony sat down and booked everything through the pay-per-view. That's what it felt like. It felt like this guy knows where he's going for Revolution, and he knows where he's going for Australia, and he's working backwards, at least for the main programs, because I thought we got a lot of kind of forward-looking directions for the next couple of weeks, and with Revolution, that you're assuming MJF will be facing the winner of Grand Slam Australia.
I was always curious how this sort of top mix would have figured its way into, finding one challenger. And I'm happy to see that it's not building to another 4-way or something like that. Instead, we're getting this sort of unofficial tournament with all the top guys that were sort of introduced to already towards, the past few weeks. Namely, the three other people who didn't win that 4-way last time, and also Kenny Omega.
So out comes... Omega cuts a promo. This is the best he's felt in years. So Hangman is the first one to come out and says that he made a mistake looking past Samoa Joe when he was champion. He was thinking about facing Kenny Omega, and he lost the belt because of Hook and MJF, and tells Omega, "You're not going to be the next champion. I will." That prompts Swerve to come out, and he states how he has not been pinned since he returned, and does note the 4-way that he was not pinned in. He doesn't care who he has to go through as he steps right up to Omega, and Omega senses animosity and thinks that Swerve is looking for a fight. And then Don Callis interrupts to loud boos, stating that Swerve's streak will end tonight by Andrade, and he's coming for Omega, and the Don Callis family runs this show. Now, did I transcribe that accurately? Because I had to listen to Don Callis, who had something in his mouth, and I don't know what this was. You didn't see this?
I didn't really notice myself.
I had to go back and watch this, okay?
Huh.
He had something in his mouth, and I was like, what in God's... It didn't appear to be food or anything like that. It was almost like there was like some mouthpiece that he had in his mouth that he was trying to like speak through. This took my attention away for more time than it needed to, but he did barf out his promo here. And then Kenny's music starts playing to end the segment, and Kenny cuts the music to end with a promo on Callis and chases him to the back.
Yeah, maybe to ask him what was in his mouth.
He might have, yes.
Interesting. Yeah.
So.
I mean, I thought this whole thing was like very easy to follow, set the scene for everybody, and lays out the path towards the title match at Revolution. And I mean, I think noticeably putting a lot more focus onto Kenny in particular as the special contender of the bunch. So did also a bit of nice build for Kenny versus Swerve here, as I mean, ultimately a misdirect for tonight, but also I'm sure laying the groundwork for a future match between these two.
Statlander promo with the Babes of Wrath. Harley says that tonight Thekla will suffer toxic shock syndrome. And Kris says, Thekla, your live long and prosper reference that she made in her Collision promo, very cute. But tonight you're going to live short and die. Are you keeping track for best promos of 2026 way? Have you started your list?
No, not so much. I mean,
Okay.
it's not.
Okay.
Yeah,
January 28th is
Okay.
the date you want to jot down.
I like it.
And then Willow and Harley proposition Julia Hart and Sky Blue, stating if you stay out of tonight's match with Thekla and Statlander, no interference, we will defend the tag belts on Collision Saturday night. So that was very nice of them.
Yeah,
Good friends.
sure. That's how deals are made. Yeah.
Continental Championship Eliminator bout between Jon Moxley and Ace Austin. And Ace immediately gets dropped by Jon Moxley, but he eventually makes his comeback. Taz points out that Ace Austin is wrestling in Austin. And then another one of them, I believe it's Excalibur, mentioned, and Austin Gunn too. And Tony Schiavone replies, great comments, guys. This was during picture-in-picture.
Yeah, of course.
Surprisingly.
A bit more loose.
He cuts off Ace Austin with one clothesline, and then Austin hits his beautiful-looking spinning wheel kick that just looked great. Gets a 2 count, and then Austin runs into a cutter and is hit with the Death Rider as Moxley wins in 10 minutes and 5 seconds. So Austin gets aced in Austin.
He did, yeah. I thought Ace Austin got to showcase his abilities quite well here. I thought he managed to look unique, by the match's end. But I did feel like in the context of like a match against Jon Moxley, I thought he got a little bit too much of this match. And at some point I stopped watching this like a believable one-on-one match, and instead it really just felt like Jon Moxley giving Ace Austin a showcase before he just hits the RKO out of
Not
nowhere.
enough of a struggle or...
Yeah, I think Moxley needed to show a little bit more of a justified reason for being on the back foot for like 90% of this match.
He did give Austin most of this.
Yeah, and I know that's sort of the AEW thing. We're even taking things back now to like, that whole Kenny Omega versus whatever that forgot that guy, that Dark Order guy's name. You remember that whole debate for that 1 week? We're taking things back to that. And I understand AEW, like you have an expectation for just great wrestling, but I do kind of want it to narratively make a bit more sense. This is still Jon Moxley, who I think is still positioned way higher up in the card than Ace Austin. So I would have liked to have seen maybe a bit more of a reason for why Ace Austin was so dominant in this match. But I mean,
Did I not explain where they were? They were in
he gets special powers when he wrestles into place with his name. Yeah.
Takeshita comes out and he goes nose to nose with Moxley, and they do reference Moxley's loss to Takeshita in the Continental Classic. And then Doyle and Davis jump Moxley from behind as Takeshita just walks off. So this appears to tie in, Moxley approaching Callis last week about facing your boy. So looks like a Moxley Takeshita match down the road.
Sign me up. That's awesome.
Mark Briscoe, El Clone for the TNT Championship. The winner will defend the title on Collision, we are told. So El Clone stops Briscoe from jumping off the chair by grabbing said chair and whipping it towards Mark, who ducks and avoids the chair shot. Mark hits a somersault dive to the floor, and he really got this crowd got very hot for this match. They're chanting for Briscoe, Dem Boys, as Callis learns that it's Dem, not them. He hits the Froggy Bow for a 2 count, and then in a move that I'm surprised this spot was in the match, he hits the J Driller, and Clone just pops right up.
Why were you surprised?
I mean, that's just a move.
He didn't really hit it. He
did
kind of
block it, or did he?
I think he pushed up out of it.
Oh, he blocked it with the handstand.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
There's an overhead kick, and then Clone does this one, just kicks off the rope into an Asai moonsault. Looked great. And then a double stomp off the top, tries for Hologram's portal bomb, but that is countered with a roll-up by Mark and pins him in 11 minutes and 17 seconds. I thought that this was a pretty good exhibition for El Clone, and this crowd was really into this match.
I thought El Clone looked incredible here. Very much a standout performance in my opinion, where I thought he really came across like a video game character and was moving and avoiding, offense in ways that I don't think anybody else on this roster is able to. So I thought he looked really special here, and they were very protective of him in this finish by having Briscoe essentially like fail with the J Driller and then needing to win with the desperation roll up. It made it look like he kind of got by on a fluky win here against El Clone. So it makes El Clone look like he could, have a great chance against Briscoe in a rematch. And I think this was actually, like a very good way to promote El Clone, actually.
Briscoe gets on the mic. He's not going to dodge anyone. He's coming back on Saturday for an open challenge, but stipulates no one from the Don Callis family because I'm tired of them. And oh no, the lights go out. And there we see a heart beating on the screen. And out comes our newest free agent, the psycho killer, Tommaso Ciampa. I mean, Tony Khan literally chomping at the bit the second this guy became a free agent. And
Do we know exactly when that was?
I mean, it had to have been like within the last 48 hours because I think it coincided with him putting his shop up on. It was on Tuesday that WWE put his profile on the alumni section, which usually means the contract's over. And that same day he launched his Pro Wrestling Tees store. So
that was yesterday.
It was probably Tuesday that he became a free agent. So I think it's pretty safe to say this guy knew exactly where he was going with his big notes app utilization last week.
I mean, not only that, but like, this entrance was quite the entrance, man. Like it was like, pretty long and brand new song, which I've seen. Like, I don't know what the whole, jury is necessarily out on it, but I like it, and the entrance definitely made him feel like a big deal. So, I mean, all of this isn't coming together in just one day, I don't think, so a lot probably in the works already. But yes.
Is there a large differentiation between a killer and a psycho killer? Like, could you just be a run-of-the-mill murderer but not dive into psychosis?
Well, sure. Like in the case of like manslaughter, those are like
we're definitely talking about
people.
premeditated by being a psycho killer.
Yeah, there are different levels to killing.
Like I wouldn't like you rear end somebody and they die. Like I don't look at that as a killer. I mean, technically you are committing that act, but I'm saying like I think of a killer as it's a purposeful act and kind of I don't know if. Okay. I guess psycho is it's not redundant is what I'm asking.
It's not redundant. No, there are different types of killing. Okay. Yeah.
Right. There we go. So he comes out and I believe his daughter was in the front row and he waved to her and then he went up to her afterwards. I presume it was his daughter. And he gets right into Mark Briscoe's face. He's coming for the belt and they are doing this on Collision Saturday night, which I did look this up. They have had one singles match in their history. They had a three-way match, and they had a singles match in November of 2013 in Ring of Honor. So this is a relatively new match, and we'll see how Ciampa looks in his first post-WWE match on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there's probably some skepticism about whether or not AEW would have room for him. I always thought he was a really perfect fit, and I also know like Tony Khan probably regards a lot of those NXT Black and Gold guys as like, like guys that are sort of perfect fits for his own roster. I mean,
I think Black and Gold and Ring of Honor. I think you're going to. I was just before we were starting the show. I saw on like the ROH YouTube channel. They literally just started they just premiered like a Tommaso Ciampa marathon on the ROH YouTube channel.
Oh my God. Wow. What a clue.
Yeah. They're like just, they're getting you right into things with Ciampa. I mean, he's a 40-year-old guy that I have no doubt he's going to look great in this company, but it's ultimately, finding, a defined role for a Tommaso Ciampa. And like one thing is for sure, AEW is in acquisition mode at the moment. Like they are not slowing down. And, some people will look at this as a very loaded roster, but I think that's always been like Tony has always been a depth guy that, hey, we are going to load these shows and we are never going to be light on great matches, great talent, because we have a roster that no matter how deep we go, we can put on these shows. No injury is going to handicap us. And I think that's a lot of his thinking. And, there's positives and negatives, and it depends on what perspective you're looking at it of, where a Ciampa ultimately fits in. But I think like right out of the gate, I think there is going to be interest in him just being in a new environment as well. And I think you have a great match to come back with on Saturday.
Well, he already comes in with, I think, a look and entrance of something way closer to his NXT persona than we've seen recently with him doing the jackass stuff with DIY.
Can you imagine if Mark Briscoe had called him a jackass here?
that is some fodder for future promos.
My opponent's friends, jackass.
This whole jackass thing must have been the final straw for him. Okay, like maybe he was still on the fence about it, and then like having them do these segments for weeks.
The day Candace and Johnny showed up with their "my best friend's a jackass," my best friend's my husband's best friend is a jackass was the day this man meant. I think maybe that's where he pulled out the notes app and wrote that.
This is his gas mask moment, like John Moxley had in his latter days. I think debuting him on Collision in a TNT match against Briscoe is interesting. I mean, personally, on the surface, I would have liked to have seen them delay this by just maybe a week to let them build it a little bit more, and also to maybe get out of the esports arena so that he could have that sort of big stage presence for potentially a title win. Can you see that happening on Saturday?
I could see him winning this. Like I'm not a big fan of coming in and you just like, yes, they'll have a great match. I'm not that worried about that, but I mean, you could argue like come in, make the biggest impact possible for a guy you're bringing in here. I mean, it would actually be funny. I wouldn't advocate for this, but it would be funny that after stipulating no Don Callis family members, that this guy wins the belt and joins the Don Callis family right afterwards, because that's just what everyone does when they come into this company. So.
He doesn't really need a talker, though. You know, I'm looking forward to his promos again in a more serious note.
Yeah. Renee speaks with Kyle Fletcher and Okada explains he wasn't thinking at World's End when he used the screwdriver. I wanted to face you in the final at World's End. I didn't mean to hurt you. I apologize. And Kyle states, I was mad, but it takes a real man to apologize. I accept. And they shake hands. I think Okada is so great. He is just so...
Even when he's being serious. Like, there's nothing comedic about this, but you just know, I mean, he's insincere, of course. So, yeah.
This was Buzz in Home Alone 2 after the Christmas recital with Kevin and the candles behind his ears telling him, beat that, trout sniffer.
Wow.
I think was just great here.
Okada's English is sounding really good. You know,
the guy's always been able to speak English. I think that's a thing that people don't realize. Like, he's been able to speak English for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm sure when he was in Japan, he probably wasn't using it as often. But I mean, it's not like it's you know.
Well, it's at the point now where he doesn't even have to rely on using bitch in his promos to get a reaction. I think like his facial expression and just like his body language, and I think his delivery as well is able to communicate a whole lot.
When Kyle walked off screen and it was just Renee and Okada, I thought that was going to be the line at the end where you just look at him and smile and bitch.
She should say it preemptively next time.
She should? Renee?
She should call him a bitch just as a receipt. Oh, I guess he's never called her a bitch.
Yeah. Well, more to come on this infighting with the Don Callis family. MJF comes out, and he just asks Taz, why are we working in such a dump like this? And as he goes to speak, Brody King interrupts for the second week in a row, and MJF reminds him, you've got to beat someone that matters, and you've been following me around like a lost puppy, just like you followed Malachi Black around. And he says, ooh, it was so cool how you guys could turn the lights on and off. I was like, I don't know if this is the company that can be poking fun at the overutilization of the lights going off.
Didn't he do it a whole lot with the devil kit-thing?
Dude, we just did this in the last segment with Ciampa. Like it was, anyway, you're right, yes, he did it too. Mm-hmm. He says, then you followed Buddy Matthews around. And I don't give a shit about the state of his ankle, which, by the way, in 2 weeks will mark the 1-year anniversary of this guy being out from the last Grand Slam Australia. Like, him and Bianca Belair, like the most snake bit of performers last year when it comes to injuries.
In Matthews' case, it was reportedly like rehab that didn't go so well, and then like essentially delayed surgery, which extended the timeline, and then maybe a recovery as well. That's also not going that well.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's just been like to think he lost a year of his career and maybe longer. Runs down Bandito being a loser. And then MJF suggests, you know, maybe I could pay you to follow me around. I could use someone of your size. And I've got to say, I've never seen such a liberal man who looks like a Nazi. And this just seemed like Brody King did not know this line was coming because it cracked him up when he said this. And says, you need to be a leader like me. And the fact is, you're just a follower. King explains, I wasn't following people around. That's called having friends, something you don't know anything about. And I spoke with Tony Khan about who I could beat to get a shot at you. And we both agreed that that person is you. And they are going to have an eliminator match next week in Las Vegas. And if Brody King wins, he will get a title shot at Grand Slam Australia.
Yeah, they're putting a whole lot behind this, and it's not like I don't think they would tease a match for a particular date without actually delivering it. So I'm expecting Brody King to somehow get the win over the champion next week. We'll see how that happens. I think King continues to sound all right here, like not great, but I thought they kept this short and sweet, and he showed off that nice gravelly hardcore band lead singer voice a little bit here as well, which I think is a great attribute to have. Not like it's a nice little TV program for Grand Slam if that's where it's headed, and maybe we'll get a Buddy Matthews appearance.
I didn't even think about that, but that would be this is not a match that really makes sense in Australia, but with Buddy Matthews, it absolutely does. Yeah. I really like that idea. If he would be ready, even if he's not ready, just to appear at that show. Totally. Yeah, that's a great idea. The Young Bucks have a video. They recap their past year, and now it's time to go back to their roots. Tassels, super kick parties, and putting the tag division on notice, and it all starts next week in Las Vegas.
All right. I'm excited.
I didn't know any of this stuff had really left.
Well, when they're like, GMs or EVPs, they certainly weren't looking like this, right?
Okay, well, yeah.
The tassels are back. I mean, the wrestling is really the same, you would think.
Maybe it's not. Maybe they're going to surprise us.
Well, like how? Like they're taking it back, and they've always gotten wrestled like this.
Maybe they're going to wrestle like no holds barred style now. They're going to
chain wrestling,
like Pancrase tapes they've been studying. Statlander and Thekla for the women's title. We see Kris with a delayed vertical on the floor and then gets smashed into the steps. Big clothesline is hit by Stat, goes for the 450, but Thekla sends her off, does the spider suplex and this huge high cross to the floor. Hits a spear inside, but doesn't manage to go for the cover. Gets up, and then she spits at Statlander and snaps Statlander's arm, stomps her for a 2 count, and does the spider walk into the spear, but is met with a super kick. Wednesday Night Fever gets countered, and then she hits one final spear, which is caught and turned into the Babe with the powerbomb, and Kris Statlander wins with the Wednesday Night Fever in 11 minutes and 44 seconds. No title change way for the women's belt.
No, I thought it was a possible one, personally.
Of the three, this was the one that I could have seen of the possible ones.
Yeah, but they still have some challengers lined up for Statlander on the babyface side of things as well. So I thought it was a good match. Statlander won, but I thought Thekla was a real standout here. I mean, I
like Thekla a lot. I think she's just got such a great character. I enjoy a lot of her offense that she just goes seamlessly between. Like, she's a really great character.
In terms of charisma, I thought she was excellent in this match, and so good that I thought at points she was turning the crowd to side with her instead of Kris Statlander. So I think this at least shows that she definitely has championship potential about her, and at this point, she's shown in this program that she can. Well, she's always been great in ring, but now she can also talk as well. So I mean, I would expect her to be champion at some point, certainly.
But not in the middle of a Dynamite show.
Like what do you mean? Like
this match just thrown into the middle of the show.
9:00 instead of 10?
I just figured it was.
Yeah, probably not.
Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford walk out to eye the tag team champions as Willow and Harley are out there. So they are trying to develop at least some kind of title picture. Callis is with Proto Sheeta, and Callis explains how it's time to bring the gold home to the Don Callis family. Andrade's going for the world title. Okada has the international belt. Takeshita is aiming for Moxley's belt and says that Takeshita should forgive Okada just like Kyle did. And this is news to Takeshita, who, unlike Liv Morgan, doesn't watch the show. And once again repeats that Kyle should be going for the TNT title. And he's waiting for Briscoe or Ciampa, whoever wins Saturday's match, while Davis and Doyle are going to squash FTR. I was like, God damn, these are a lot of people in. And this is only like a third of the members that he listed here. And they're all going for belts in some form or fashion. And as Callis leaves, Takeshita looks disappointed at Kyle and says, you apologized to,
Well,
or you accepted his apology.
Yeah.
Kyle's like, no, I didn't mean it like that.
Drama. Wow.
Yeah.
I like this, family infighting turning into like sort of a high school drama between these tremendous professional wrestlers.
Hey, if it gives us a reason to do a one-off Takeshita versus Fletcher,
I
I'm
love
down.
it. I love it. Are you kidding
Give
me?
us the infighting, okay?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. You're supposed to be my friend. You can't accept an apology from a guy I hate. So I'm enjoying this. Fletcher called him Take.
Take.
So that's sort of their friend name with each other.
Take.
Take.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We had our Jack Perry video. This guy would be considered psychotic, right?
I think more Darby Allin, but I mean, I'm sure there are psychotic elements about him. Yeah. I don't know if he's
His
killed.
deal
before.
is just carries around a knife and he just stabs shit. He's coming for Ricochet. And then we go to a video from earlier today where GOA has Perry down and they beat the shit out of him as Ricochet taunts him and GOA put him through a table.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was like, yeah, he had a knife on him, so.
They're just, yeah. Mm-hmm.
FTR against Davis and Doyle for the AEW tag titles with Big Stoke on commentary. Dax and Davis just chopped the hell out of one another to the point that Dax's chest started bleeding. Cash's dive gets caught as they launch him into Dax. I do think there's something going on here with Davis and Doyle. Like, they have something together. Yeah. Davis, I think, like, this guy, like, post Aussie Open has just been, he's had some terrible luck injury-wise, booking-wise. But you know what? Having his contractual rights sent to Don Callis in perpetuity, it's finally starting to work out for this guy because I think like these two have something as a team together.
Yeah, I was curious if they had tagged before prior to this because, I mean, they have great chemistry, just even in terms of look, it's just like these two like bears, essentially. And they're just like,
please name these two.
The bears.
Two bears.
Two. And they just like have,
Bear Bronson's gone, so I mean,
they
it's,
could take it now.
that animal is free now.
They just have great like physical sort of like intensity about them, and they essentially kind of play like two of the very same characters, but because there's two of them, it's like it makes for a great tag team. So I mean, it might have been just another one of those like Tony Khan sort of like ideas to pair these two together, but it's working out really well.
Yeah, given these blistering chops and a match layout of let's just beat the shit out of one another, this is probably the most anti-Bret Hart match that FTR has been involved in. Dax hits this belly to back to Davis off the top, followed by the splash from Cash. And then Davis applies a sleeper when all of a sudden the fans stand up and the Death Riders appear. Daniel Garcia goes to sit on the turnbuckle, which distracts Paul Turner as Moxley nails Mark Davis with a belt shot, leading him into a shatter machine at 9:26. This was another one of those just AEW ridiculous distraction spots that Paul Turner seems to always look like such an idiot that he could not have seen this. I really thought this finish brought this down a lot for me because I did enjoy this match, but I did not like this finish at all.
Yeah, unfortunately here. I mean, and I thought it was really odd in that it was Moxley, like who was largely, I mean, he was the one who did the attack. So the fans are mad at the interference finish, clearly. But because they like Mox, because he's a babyface now, I thought that was also part of the reason why this reaction at the end was kind of silent and kind of awkward. So, but the match itself prior to that, I thought was just a tremendous showcase for Davis and Doyle. I mean, just great Haas intensity, and I definitely want to see more of these two.
Like, if these guys are not going to be in a title picture anytime soon, like just keeping their presence on TV, doing squash matches will get these guys over. Like just 3-minute matches every week. It'll be really entertaining. Like watching like the Steiners of this tag division just run through guys.
You did kind of have that with the Hurt Syndicate, didn't you? But I mean, Bobby's not around right now, and maybe that's a potential matchup for the future.
Renee is with Orange Cassidy, who details his history with Wheeler Yuta for the past 5 years and makes fun of his beard and hair. So Yuta comes in. Talking about my appearance now? And then Marina Shafir walks in, grabbing the hair of Cassidy, which prompts Toni Storm to step in, warning her that she's going to be in deep shit after Shafir asks if she needs more milk.
Yeah. I mean, I get it because her finish is the mother's milk. It's just
Yes.
quite the line to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought Tony was great, as she is in any situation.
So mixed tag.
Yeah, seems like it.
Maybe that's another Grand Slam match.
Yeah, sure, that makes
Tony?
sense. Australia. Mm-hmm.
Sure. And then the main event: Swerve Strickland and Andrade El Idolo. Another very hot match. I thought the crowd was most into this, and that Mark Briscoe El Colon match, like that seemed to be the hottest they were on this show. Both early on do a stalemate after counters to each's Ranas, and then it's one off the middle rope by Swerve that he hits. I mean, these two guys they came out and early on they're working like guys like half their weight, and these guys just look gigantic in their current forms.
I thought both guys here. I mean, it sort of is the modern mold of like your, top all-rounder who can both fly and like look like a heavyweight, like it's something this generation has shown that you can like still, like, if you started off as a cruiserweight and then you build mass afterwards, you still retain a lot of that agility, and I thought both of these guys managed to show that here.
What could Billy Gunn have pulled off here?
You know what, if only. Yeah.
Are we going to get the poison Rana from Billy at some point?
I think there's still time. What is he, only like, what, 55?
He's 60.
Oh, 60. Wow.
Yeah. I think he does it before he's a senior citizen.
Yeah, sure.
Andrade continues the deal where he goes and takes a selfie with a plant in the front row, and this woman hands him her number. That's nice.
It's very classic, almost like cheesy type of gimmick, but I kind of like it for Andrade. It's
Did you see where he does the deal now, where he shows he has no ring anymore?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, yeah, he's a different man. Yeah.
The crowd starts chanting, "Take your pants off." We presume at Andrade, and this was the best. Okay, if you want to see the the master that is Andrade at work on television, okay, they go to picture in picture, and this rear chin lock gets applied by Andrade, and it is like the whole break. As soon as they come back, boom, Swerve to the floor. This guy hits a springboard tornillo to the floor. And it was like, this dude ain't doing anything for you people on AEW Plus. I don't give a shit about the international audience. It was amazing to watch. This went from a 1 to an 8 in like 10 seconds.
I mean, this was totally a WWE style commercial break.
I cannot recall an AEW like shift like this from the break to back to action.
Well, I mean, some would say he's working smart, but like Triller does get a bit more play. I feel
maybe he just read Triller's 10K and realized.
I'm not wrestling for Triller.
It's like these guys they don't even have their 2025 finances put together yet. I'm not doing anything.
I guess this would be HBO too, wouldn't it?
Or do they have
commercial? Do they have commercial on HBO?
It's a good question.
I don't know.
I can't watch on HBO Max.
Chat room, let us know.
They will let us know. He hits the double moonsault. Swerve comes back, DVD onto the edge, and then they make their way onto the barricade where Andrade back body drops Swerve onto this barricade. I thought this man was just going to break into 3 pieces from this fall on the barricade. Into the ring they go, and Andrade hits his spinning elbow, and the effect of Judas might be... I was almost waiting for Callis to call it by mistake. It's open season now,
don't
right?
know.
Hits Andrade, Andrade hits it for a near fall. Then Swerve comes back with a house call for a 2 count, and then it's a poison Rana off the turnbuckle by Andrade. He probably triple checked with the ref that they were on TBS for that one, and hits the running knees, hammerlock DDT for a 2 count, and then after multiple counters, the house call is hit, and then Andrade, in his last grasp, grabs Aubrey Edwards, who is grabbed by the wrist, turns around. This is not a DQ or anything like that. And with this, hits Swerve with a low blow and hits the DM.
Yeah.
I didn't think there was a dumber name than the Message, but Andrade just outdoes himself where he goes. I mean, he hit the DM.
He updated the move to the year 2010, I suppose. It's not just a message, it's a direct message.
Maybe this is his tribute to his last utterance on WWE programming during that Charlotte Tiffany Stratton promo last year.
Oh, maybe.
Kaiser being in her DMs.
Okay.
14 minutes, 49 seconds. Andrade wins, staying undefeated in AEW, and after all these months, we're going to get the payoff to Andrade and Kenny Omega.
Without any reference to that initial attack, by the way.
It almost was a phantom attack at this point.
It's almost as if like they can't reference it because he technically was not supposed to be working for the company at the time.
That would be amazing if they got a cease and desist for referencing something we all saw with our own eyes.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought this match was fantastic. It was a great main event, and I think both guys here felt very matched in their attributes. Like both are heavyweights now who have retained their quickness from their lighter days, and I think both are incredibly versatile, especially Swerve, who this was just again a reminder of how adaptable Swerve is to almost like anybody on this roster, whether it be like a brawling style or deathmatch style, or in this case a little bit of lucha. They nailed a lot of really tricky spots here, and everything looked fantastic, I thought.
Renee's in the back with MJF and refers to Brody King as an oversized bag of milk with a Sharpie written over it. And in walks Kenny Omega and warns him that I'm coming for you at Revolution and offers his hand. Kenny giving Brody King tons of chances to... he is not optimistic that Brody King is going to win this Eliminator bout, much less win the title. So he's already planning Revolution. MJF walks off rather than shaking his hand. Then he walks into Andrade, who says he wants to slap him right now, but he wants this title. So MJF keeps walking. And he goes outside the building. We follow him with the camera. He gets to his vehicle, and Hangman is there to stop him. And then MJF gets into the car and takes off. So we get all the obstacles in MJF's way that he will probably end up facing all of these guys on some type of timetable. But Kenny kind of feeling like the big one for whether it's Revolution or they hold it off for a bigger story for Kenny to get that title match. But there you go. I did like a lot what they did of establishing this title scene and making like the next 2 months they kind of laid out for you of these different scenarios of where they're going, who the players are, and that MJF has this big target on his back.
It was very clear and easy to follow throughout. Like in your mind, you kind of know what the destination is. You know who the players are, and you're in for the ride to see how, presumably, Kenny eventually gets there. So I thought that was all really well done. You know, having Joe out of this whole thing, I'm sure, like, kind of sucks, but it also freshens things up a bit, you know, and separates it from the World's End match, which, I mean, we kind of have seen being built for now, like, 2 months. So I really don't mind that. So
I think the only hiccup would have been, like, this would have been an extra match, and I would have seen, like, Hangman probably beating Joe would have been the outcome there. So,
yeah.
But there you go.
Very good Dynamite, I felt. You know, great action. Like, that El Clone match was outstanding. I mean, you know, Kenny match, as brief as it was still a Kenny match that I thought was very productive here. I thought Thekla versus Statlander was also very good. And you got Tommaso Ciampa, big newsworthy, you know, debut.
Yeah, I mean, really my negative was that finish to the tag title match, but I mean, that is something they rely heavily on, are a lot of finishes that are going to protect people in losing. I just think it's something AEW they rely on quite heavily, as they are wont to do. But we do have a Collision for Saturday. This is their last week at the Esports Arena with the Babes of Wrath against the Sisters of Sin for the tag titles. Darby Allin against Clark Connors, which is interesting. That he is on the show
because his contract may already be up at this point, if not
either up or very close to being up. Yeah. So that's an interesting one. This should be awesome. Zachary Wentz and Desmond Xavier against Leo Rush and Action Andretti. That should be outstanding. Like, if they get 15 minutes, that's going to be great. Yes. And then Mark Briscoe against Tommaso Ciampa for the TNT title. So this looks like a really great Collision. It's not going head-to-head with the Rumble, but regardless, like as we saw in the past, Collision would always get hurt on the same day. I am sure that, you know, Collision is getting decimated on Saturday nights on non-competitive weeks with a WWE show. So, I mean, it's just kind of the reality that these shows are doing like 0.02s in the demo. We'll see if they get any spike here. But as a show, these 4 matches alone could all be very, very good.
They're certainly not throwing in the towel on a pay-per-view night. Like, this feels like it's, I mean, a very fresh, you know, lineup for Collision, and one that I think is also really intriguing. I mean, they're giving you Tommaso Ciampa's debut match where he might potentially win the championship. I think, like, you know, there are a lot of questions of like where these roster members may fit in. And it looks like Collision is going to be one of those places for a team like the Rascals, or maybe even Ciampa. Like, he might start calling Collision home. So the space has to come from somewhere, and I think it's maybe to Collision's benefit that you're going to get maybe some fresh names like this popping up.
How many fans got scared when they saw the graphic and there was no Myron Reed? They did. They actually did explain this one on Collision, because they did best of 100 of rock paper scissors, and Myron Reed lost. So they did actually set this up as those two being the two to go forward. And then Dynamite next week has Kenny Omega, Andrade. Winner goes to face Hangman.
Page? Yeah.
Hangman.
But they haven't said that explicitly.
I don't think they flat out said that, but they said like the top two contenders will meet at Grand Slam Australia. So
meaning Page likely has to win another match.
Well, that's what I was asking. It's like, I'm pretty sure he would have faced Joe. Are they just going to put, like, I don't know. Is it even? I guess you could put somebody in there and Hangman beats them. So you could do that. MJF and Brody King in the Eliminator bout, and they have added Ricochet Jack Perry for the national title, which is kind of weird that they did this title match. Then he got another win over, he earned another title shot, and now they're running it back so quickly. I don't see him winning this title either.
They beat him up backstage. That kind of resets everything.
Yeah. What if he pulls a knife on Ricochet? Would that be a DQ? Depends if Paul Turner sees it, right?
It depends if Ricochet brings out his scissors.
Oh, okay. Blade versus Blade.
Sure.
And then the Butcher and the Blade come out.
And then Jay White comes out.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay. We are done. We are going to say goodbye to everyone on YouTube. But if you're on the Post Wrestling Cafe, we're just getting started. We've got feedback. We've got questions. And we've got a Royal Rumble preview to go through as well. So that is going to be on the XL version. If not, we will see you on Saturday night right here on this channel, 10 p.m. Eastern time. And for the final time that we're going to harass you out there, if you want to jump on board the Post Wrestling Cafe and take advantage of the lower price for all of 2026, sign up this week before Sunday at postwrestlingcafe.com. We are moving the regular tier from $6 to $8 per month. If you're already a subscriber, this isn't going to impact you. You won't feel the price increase till next year. But if you want to sign up this week, you can take advantage and get the old price for the rest of 2026, whether you're going month by month or if you sign up for an annual plan, which you do get an additional savings on top of that. And some of you might not even be members of the Post Wrestling Cafe, and you're not the commitment type. You want to sample first. You want to go on a date. Well, we're offering you a 7-day free trial date. Let's go to the movies. Let's see if there's chemistry for 7 days. I mean, you don't even get 7 days in a home before you've got to put a deposit on it. Yeah. We're giving you 7 days before you commit to the Post Wrestling Cafe. The spoiler, you're going to fall in love, and there's plenty of procreation happening on the cafe on a yearly basis.
I was going to say,
because look at all the shows that we're pumping out.
Yeah, we're paying for the popcorn. We're paying for the Uber ride. We're paying for the movie. We're paying for dinner. And we don't even expect anything at the end of the night. All right, we can go our separate ways, and that could be it. Thank you, John. Yeah. So this is our last week prior to that, and we thank everybody who's already signed up so far. We saw a lot of them, and those of you who might even really like us and want to take things to the next level, consider the double tier, where John and Neil this week have a review coming out.
That's right. Book Club is going to be out on Thursday. And we are chatting A Lion's Tale by Chris Jericho. This was his first book in 2007, detailing breaking into the industry, his work in Mexico, in Japan, in Europe, to ECW, to WCW, all leading up to his arrival at the WWF. That's where the first book ends. So this was Neil's choice. He had never read this book before. So we are going to dive into the first 9 years of Chris Jericho's career in this look. That's coming out on Thursday. And then Way is back with Neil on Friday for Rewind-A-SmackDown, and then the Rumble Saturday night, as well as Collision Course Saturday night, head-to-head.
And let's not forget, MCU Later returns this Friday with their reviews of Wonder Man, episodes 1 and 2, which just dropped this week.
I was looking at this series. This one might pull me in. It looks interesting.
That says something.
Yeah.
When John Pollock gets interesting. Of course, they'll be talking about everything in the build up to Secret Wars as well. A lot of developments with these trailers and all that, which I haven't even been paying attention to. But yeah, you'll let me know in the future.
All right. That's all for the plugs. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. We're going to say goodbye to everyone on the Post Wrestling YouTube channel.